God damn. Literally, like, I don't know if I should take my jacket off or not. Like, it's warm. It's nice warm.
Too warm?
No.
Okay, good.
I don't know if it's too warm. It's nice warm. You can't see. Just got a haircut. Welcome back to another episode of the Murph Mitise Show.
You ready? Let's go.
We had a few topics. we had a few topics we're going to discuss today, but then we forgot about all of them and don't know where we're going to be. So
we're just going to discuss
everything. But I did think of something that I wanted to talk about, in particular, understanding sports specificity. Right? Right.
This was
yeah. We're going in.
Okay.
It just popped out to me because I was thinking about
sports specificity.
As in, I'll go with it in a sec. I'll clarify.
Okay.
2, 3, 4 coffees in. So basically, what I was thinking.
You're in for a treat.
You're in for a treat today. No, what I was thinking was that understanding sport
We're
demands.
also running the wrong way.
Are we?
Yeah.
Do we need to change?
Yep.
Okay. I reckon that's the right way, because you've got the real camera on. Remember, when it's front facing screen, then we've got to be around this way because then it flips it. This is I think this is the wrong way now because it's the regular camera now. Trust me, I think we've got to be. Right, here we go.
Continue.
So understanding sport demands, right? So we were discussing a course yesterday, right, that we didn't really think was the best. And anyway, within that course, to be considered, qualified in that course, you have to understand a general number of exercises and movements on it, but it's designed for sport, right?
Yes.
And my analysis of it from what I've done before, and obviously we've talked about it from what you've done before, was that the course itself doesn't really give you much more than base knowledge around movement patterns, and I think what I've been thinking about is that, particularly, I was talking to one of my athletes yesterday actually, and she plays national team sport. And then also...
So ambiguous so far.
I'm so... I'm just... I don't know. It's straight soccer. Anyway. There you go, straight up.
And are we not naming
No.
sport in question?
Soccer.
The other sport?
Other sport.
That you're alluding to but not really mentioning?
The course.
Yeah.
Would you want to name the course?
Let's leave it.
I'm like, name the course. What? No, I wouldn't leave it for now. Anyway, so what I was basically saying is that I was talking to her, and from what we were talking about in regards to the course yesterday, always kind of happened in one day, and I was like, what I find occurring is people not understanding sport demands in regards to like S&C coaches or performance coaches, whatever. At high level, yes, right, but with this I think when I was talking to her, she was talking about at her I'll say club level, like not national but like state club level, the performance coaches providing exercises and providing training drills that aren't really indicative or leading to game situations. Basic straight line running stuff, 30-15 stuff, whatever is just the generic, general,
the
sagittal kind of idea, and it really annoyed me because like I feel like in order to class yourself as an S&C coach, in order to class yourself as a performance coach, in order to be hired by a team, but obviously teams don't understand, so it's not the team's problem that you don't know your work, but like there's a lot of shit out there that is just basically taken from a course and then applied without the understanding as to why it needs to be applied, and what we were talking about in particular with athlete yesterday, what I was talking about yesterday with the athlete was one of the drills that I was running, and that I literally was getting and why I was doing that, and I posted it, I told you about people commenting on it, whatever, like the dollar sign drill, but the actual rationale behind that, and like she'd never seen it, they'd never seen it, people never seen it, and I was like, this was something that I'd basically designed and thought about because of the demands of the sport, change direction, change of speed, agility, reacting to things coming at you from multiple angles, that you've got to do this stuff, but then also overlaying the energy system demands to that drill.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So think about, okay, the rest break. Think about, am I sending 2 players or am I sending 1 player? Am I sending 4 players? And then when they get back, what's their rest break? What's the time?
Yeah.
Within the drill itself, you know.
Do you use this as a warm-up or conditioning?
This was a conditioning one.
Yep.
This was a conditioning one. Warm-up, I kind of just build it. It's a very generic kind of warm-up, depending on what we're doing. So if we're doing like speed day, I have a generic warm-up for speed. If you're doing a conditioning day, I have a generic warm-up for that. But they're separate.
Yep.
But this particular was a conditioning drill and a reactive drill. But yeah, like understanding what those demands are and designing things and actually thinking about what you want to get from the drill, what you want to get from the session or from the program or whatever, and actually designing it appropriately too. You know, I find that the people coming in, or a lot of people coming into the industry, go, here's what they're taught, and then they just go and apply that and just put it in, vomit it out.
Just pick up that template and stick it on that and go,
here's what we're doing, right? Rather than going, okay, here's what I've been taught, but then what am I actually learning? What are the principles? What are the demands? Why am I being taught this? You know, and how does this apply to them? What I want to put over here? You know, and it's just been this, like, I've known about it before, but I didn't realize how prevalent it was, because the one I was talking to, she plays for a different team in a different state, and, you know, I've worked with her before, but she was basically talking about, you know, a coaching group that I hadn't worked with, I hadn't heard about, and I was like, you know, have you seen this stuff? And she's like, I'd never seen anything like that. We're doing, she's talking about box-to-box runs. I've already talked about them. I fucking hate box-to-box runs, which is like on the soccer field, you've got the 18-yard box, 18-yard box. At the end of training, it seems like every fucking coach in the fucking country decides to let's do box-to-box runs after training to get your load up. Why? Like, I understand why, but like, why? Do something better, do something different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just shits me. And it's that templatic approach to sport training that is going to keep the country and state and the fucking teams lower where they need to be. Like, you wonder why Europe is better. You wonder why America is better in regards to physicality. Maybe not Europe. No, Europe. In regards to physicality, in regards to technical ability, in regards to that, is because they actually apply the physical principles within that training environment rather than just going, template, vomit it out.
Same, the other one was push-ups. Push-up, penalties. Push-ups, like, I hate push-ups for a penalty. Push-ups in general, good exercise. Like, body weight exercise, closed chain exercise, cool. As a penalty, for every time you do a fuck up, 10 push-ups, there's so many better things you could be doing.
Mm-hmm. Like what?
Right now, I'm not going to put up. Depending on the situation, depending on where you are at that point, and you don't even have to do the penalty at that point in time. There can be something later on down the track where you can implement that penalty, but push up every damn time. I think that's the point I'm trying to make here. Mm-hmm. Not what's better. Push up is not a good idea.
Do you believe in penalties then? Let's go into that. If you do, why? How do you implement them? When would you implement them? In what context would you bring them into a training environment?
Do I believe in penalties? Whoa, I was not prepared for that question today.
I told you when we were coming in, I was like, I'm gonna have a lay down, meditate for about 45 seconds, and then the coffee's gonna hit me, and we're gonna talk about some shit.
I don't know. I don't know actually. I understand why they're there, but I also know. Okay. I think the best penalty is a call out from your team, and not the coach, the team.
Explain it. Go.
So
and why?
Penalties from the coach are going to piss the team off because no one likes getting a penalty. You don't, from early age, when you're little, your mum cracked the shits at you. You don't like getting told off, and eventually you become sort of immune to it. And you're like, fuck it, shrug it off, and it's just water off a duck's back, and you go do it, and you fuck it up again. Whereas if you feel like you've let someone down, like almost on an emotional level, that's going to connect with you. That's going to change you.
Cuts deeper.
It does. If you say, like, if you're my teammate and you fucked up, and you went, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Come on, get your head in the game. That's going to mean more than a coach going, fuck Josh, 10 push-ups. You know, so I think that there is. So, do I believe in penalties? Yes. Do I believe in what kind of penalty do I believe in? I think it should come from your teammates, and that can be from the vet or the rookie or not even like the bench warmer, whatever it's going to be.
I would even push back and say what you're talking about is not even penalties; it's accountability.
Yeah, okay, that's another way you can put it then. Yeah,
you know,
a better way you can put it.
And that's exactly what I was going to be talking, not what I was going to be talking about, but what I wanted to sort of get with is that physical penalties, as in like you push ups or you fucking go for a run or whatever, in a training environment, right? fatigue the team, right? Okay, if you want to try and fatigue
Unnecessary load.
Unnecessary load,
Yeah.
unnecessary fatigue. You know, you get shitty form. It's for what purpose, right?
Yeah.
Team bonding, there are better things to do. You know what I mean? And connecting the team, better things to do.
And I can tell you now from personal experience, sitting next to a sports scientist, sitting there in front of a computer, watching the loads go by, and all of a sudden the coach says, "Right, you fuckers, 12 minutes of running, go." And you just see his heart sink. Mm-hmm. And you look at the strength coach, and my heart going, fuck. Mm-hmm. Now what am I going to do?
Yep.
Because they've taken up loading that you could be putting to better use.
Definition of loading being physical capacity of the player.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. There's only so much load you can give one person.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's taken up by an arbitrary run, or a penalty run, just for the sake of you did something bad, go for a run.
Yep.
I could be using that time, that 12 minutes, or whatever it might be, or that bit of load for something better.
To get an effective training response.
Yep.
Right? And
Yep.
I see it all the time. Penalties. I hear it. I was at a training a couple of weeks back, and I was with a team, and there was a team over there, and they must have, I'm assuming they've done something that the coach didn't like, and the coach started yelling at them, "Fucking get down, we're doing 10 push-ups each or 20 push-ups each. Next one you fuck up, you do another 20 push-ups." And sure enough, it was players doing that, and look over and there's like 20 people over there doing the push-ups, and the push-ups are wrong, the load goes up, they're fatigued, and they want to do the drill again, try and get the drill better. But you can't get the drill better because you've already increased the loading, increased the fatigue, right? So it doesn't really make sense. To me, it doesn't make sense if I'm trying to elicit a physical response.
It's contradictory to what you're trying to do.
Yeah, you know, and
At the same time, though, I understand why coaches do it.
of course.
Because I've been on good and bad teams with like dynamic and chemistry of the team. Coach will do it if the team doesn't do their job
Yes.
with the accountability.
Yes.
And as much as I don't like the coach doing it, you got to do something because you can't just let the team continue the way it is.
And I understand that.
So I absolutely think accountability should be coming first, the priority of that.
Mm-hmm.
And if they did it, I can almost promise you the coach wouldn't be giving penalties.
Mm-hmm.
If he saw the teammates in amongst, calling a little group, have a go at each other, what the fuck you doing? Put your head in, come on, lift your game,
Mm-hmm.
stop doing this, stop screwing around, I want you back here, get back on D, whatever it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
The coach would be like, I don't need to do anything. They've taken care of that themselves.
Yeah.
I'm going to let them do that. I'm just going to get back to coaching.
Yeah.
It's only because they don't, they're like, I need to intervene now.
Yes. And I understand that. One of my favorite well, it is. It was with the soccer team I was working with a while back. And something had happened, right? Something had gone wrong. A couple of players had not done whatever they were supposed to do, whether it was part of the team culture or part of the training environment. And it was called firing squad. What they did is the players are 4 players, right? Who went against the rules or fucked up, whatever. The 4 players had to stand in the goals, right? Turn around, face in towards the goals, right? Drop your dacks, bend over, and then the other 11 players line up on an 18-yard box with the balls, and basically you're gonna cop the firing squad. So each player gets a kick, right? They hit you in the ass, you get a on your ass.
It must like a spank from mum.
It's a spank from mum. It's the anticipation. And I stood there. I'd never seen it before. I stood there and I was watching it and I was like, this is the best, because like you get that initial smack and it's the anticipation of all the boys in the. This was a boys' team. All the boys in the goals just waiting for it to come. You know, and I was like, you know what? I resonate with that because that's some shit you don't want to go through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Is it PC?
No.
Well, we're not going to go into.
I'm not going to recommend it. But
I get the idea behind it.
I'd never seen it before, and I thought, you know what? I prefer that to push-ups. Right? There are other ways to do it, and the accountability is
At least it will help. It will hold you emotionally accountable, as it were, because that freak out of sitting there going, I might cut the ball in the back of the head right now.
Yeah.
Is going to freak you out.
You had to kind of bend and you know.
So got you.
Make sure you weren't going to get hit. But yeah, so the penalty thing. But what we said before about the specificity of training. You know, taking it back to that and that kind of thing, where you've only got so much time, and this is basically what you're saying in regards to you only get so much physical capacity loading from a player at a time on a day, whatever. All right, and you might have your session plan. right? Whatever it may be. They may come in fatigued or tired from work or sore, whatever. You adjust that, right? But you're still going to get the most from what you want from that player, right?
Yeah.
So if you're bringing a general plan in to give to a specific kind of individual, a specific kind of player or whatnot on that specific time, you're not going to get the best you can get from them, right? And what I'm not saying you need to have individual plans for everyone, all right? But I will adjust my training plan according. So you come in and say, oh, Josh, I'm a bit tired from work today, or I'm a bit sore in here. Go, when I say 100%, you go 80, all right? Or you're going to do 6 reps instead of 8 reps, or whatever it may be.
So you need to be malleable
and communicative.
in your training.
Yeah.
In your coaching.
But the thing is then, from that is that, but I know when they do that drill, the drill is going to be specific enough and still be able to elicit the response that I want enough that I'm not just going to be going box to boxes.
Yep.
You know, or, you know, fart leg run, 20 on, 10 off, whatever it's going to be. Yep. You know what I mean? Like, that's generally, you're going to get a capacity from that, but is that going to really meet the demands of the sport aerobically, anaerobically, you know, power-wise, strength-wise, core, whatever it's going to be, core-wise, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, am I really meeting those demands or simulating the demands? Not all the time. Obviously, you've got a GPP phase, right? So you've got your general prep and then you've got your specific prep, but that's more like that's a phase, you know? You can do whatever the hell you want off-season, you know? But, like, especially within, within season, you need to be able to be specific at that time.
Yeah, because time is a lot more important in season. You don't have as much of it, so you got to utilize what you've got.
Yeah.
You know, to the best of your capability, and you don't want to be giving
And
exercise for the sake of exercises.
Per minute, this is what I look at, right? I'll have half an hour or 35 minutes, or sometimes it gets to the point where I get 37 minutes, you know, to do what I need to do.
Yeah.
Every minute counts,
Yeah.
you know? So if you're getting a rest break, okay, we're going to be a minute and a half. You know, within the drill, you might have so many seconds, right? And this is kind of what I will sit there and think about when I'm trying to design these drills and trying to make it specific, you know. And I think the crux is in order to provide that information, in order to then ensure that the coaches or the performance coaches or the personal trainers or S&C coaches, whatever you want to call the performance staff, to help drive the industry up, there needs to be better education. And so I've started thinking more about, like the other day, I think it was yesterday, I put up a video of one of my clients doing a hip thrust, right? And I've held back from posting a lot of this exercise-based stuff for a long time. Like I really don't like people go, here's how I do hip thrust, here's how I do this, right? But within that, I realized that the information I can provide is a lot more in depth, you know. Here's an exercise of someone doing something, but here's why we do it.
I still think it's important to get that information because
absolutely.
Like the other day, DJ asked me why we're doing hip thrust.
Absolutely.
So DJ being National Basketball League player, he still doesn't know why we're doing hip thrust. Now that's a bit on me because I've had him for 4 years. He still doesn't know, and he's done them for 4 years. So he finally asked me, you know, why we're actually doing this, and I tell him, he's like, cool, easy. So I think it's still important, even though I'm the same as you. I don't like promoting do this exercise because everyone's doing it. There's heaps of people out there doing that sort of thing. But I still think it's important to do it occasionally because people don't know why you do a hip thrust.
And
why are you doing a hip thrust, Josh?
Why am I doing a hip thrust? Build booties.
Build booties.
Just a booty builder.
That's it.
That's booty builder. It's just build them on one leg, build them on 2 legs, right? Build them under more tension and less tension. We build them for 60 to 120 minutes a week.
That's the only reason. Just for booties.
Just for booties. Alright, go to my Instagram, you'll find out why. And also, so I've been taking more videos on film of the drills. Because after I posted the drill, the $sign drill, right, on my one, I got a lot of response from that, like in person and online. And I was like, okay, cool. Like that's actually really cool that I'm getting people talk to me about, oh, why are you doing this? Or that was really cool. I've never seen something like that before. You know, and it started to get me thinking, oh shit. So obviously I was like, I don't know if anyone's done something similar before or not. I just tried to make something fun and simple in regards to what I wanted from the athletes at the time. You know, but I was like, okay, this might have a bit more of an effect on okay, how do we think about things now? If I can put this out and then you see it, go, fuck, that's a cool one. I can adapt that to my players.
Yeah.
You know, like I do a similar drill because I've got both field sport teams. I do a similar drill with the footy players as I do with the soccer players. But it's either shortened or the rest breaks are different. Like I adapt those variables. You know, but they're very similar in regards to invasion sports. You know what I mean? You get people come at you from any which way, anywhere, at any time, you're going to be able to react to it, you know. You know, and so basically with that, it was like, all right, cool. Well, what I want to see, to break that down, was I want to see some type of curvilinear run. I want to see some type of acceleration, some type of deceleration. I want to see you react to it in your environment, you know, and all those little components put into that and then put out there. You know, so there's that line where you go, okay, this is now no more generic. It's not just a curvilinear run. It's adapted for a situation.
Yeah.
It's adapted for gameplay. And you might only have that happen 3 times in a game. But you need to be able to still then overload the aerobic, anaerobic capacities and the ability to judge your environment. Mm-hmm. You know, so I thought that was actually pretty cool. So I've been taking more videos of that, of things that I'm doing out with the teams, to then start going, oh, cool, here's some shit, and drive it forwards that way. And what would actually be cool, I think we talked about this yesterday, is that setting up something where we do, okay, here's how we coach things. You know, instead of going, here's a generic program, like do the $, right? Why?
Yep.
What distances you're going to do it? Under what time are you going to do it? How often are you going to do it?
And this is why you would change.
Why you would change
things,
it?
yeah.
What point of the season would you do it? If it's a seasonal thing, you know, like that, and then go. Then you want to create people who are empowered to think about things a little bit differently,
Make decisions.
make decisions on that. So that's actually really cool to get that feedback.
And that's what I've done with. We've mentioned him a few times, Dan.
Yep.
So Dan takes care of the basketball teams for me at the moment. And he come to me and said, oh, what program am I running? I said, dude, you've been training under me for 2 years. You go design it based on what I've taught you over the last 2 years. Then come back and then we'll go through it together. And I want you to explain to me why you've done these things and we'll make corrections through that. So the empowerment, as you just said, is what I was trying to achieve with that.
Yep.
Go away and you use what you know and you use what you think is best at different phases of the competition. And then we'll educate if we need to based on that afterwards. I think that's the biggest thing is that when we're in schooling,
when we're in a learning phase,
when we're educating ourselves on being educated, we're not empowered enough to make our own decisions.
Yep.
It's this way, and that's it. If you're not following this, you're going to get a bad mark. Which should be, here's some options. Come up with one, and now explain why you've done it. Deeper, yeah. Deeper. So if you can explain exactly why you've done that, good mark, cool. And it makes sense, of course. Cool. If you've done something you can't explain it.
Yeah. It's almost like it's like at uni, right? So when I was at uni, we would get a question and you know, as you know, you got to go through your rationale as to why. And you're worth 10 marks, but 9 of those marks are your rationale. You fuck up calculation in the end, doesn't matter, you know, because you've understood the principles.
Yeah.
You know, whereas what I find, which is what surprised me when initially getting into doing team-based work and doing S&C-based work and performance-based work, is that there is a vast majority of who I know and who I see and who I talk to that just provide basic templates.
Yeah.
You know, without understanding the rationale, and that annoys me.
As you said before, you don't need to do an individualized program for every single athlete. Why? What's your basis on that? Why do you think that?
In a team setting. Time-based. You know, you've only got so much time with them. You know, you still want to get generally a similar response from each person. You know, if I've got a winger and I've got a striker, cool. I've got different physical components that are required in the game situation. But if I want to get in there for 37 minutes, I want to try and get the most out of them. You know, I will adapt and adjust for my midfielders and my forwards and backs. Generally, with both sports, like with footy and with soccer, generally your midfielders are going to be running more, and your forwards and backs aren't running as much, but running harder, right? So
explosive.
I will adapt that. So it's still the next level down, but you don't need to go individualized with each person, you know, because you don't have the time factor. If I was paid full-time wage and I'm working 40 to 60 hours a week with just one team, then I would do that.
Yep.
Every player is an individual program, you know, and I do that. I try and adapt that for the gym setting as well when we're doing that stuff. When people are in the gym, I'd be like, cool, you got a bung arm, you got a bung knee, you got shoot shoulders, whatever, how we're going to adapt that. but the basic physical capacity of the person or of the players is what I want.
Yep.
Is similar, you know what I mean? So just for time and economics.
Yep.
Straight up.
I think for me, going across to basketball, obviously the field is a lot smaller. So everyone sort of does this, the court.
Oh, got yeah.
Yep.
So the
Court compared to a soccer field or footy field. So everyone does the same sort of thing. Yeah, everyone's running up and down at the same time. There's not really, I mean, obviously a guard might run a little bit more than a centre would, but everyone's always running up and down at the same time. You're always doing the same sort of movements. So a very similar program across the board is going to work, but then tweaking based on things that pathologies that might come up or things that might happen throughout the season or the individual just themselves. All right, instead of this exercise, do this. Everyone else has got that. Cool. So I don't believe you need to do individualized programs for everyone. I think a good variety of programs. So I normally used to send out 2 to 3, and they could choose depending on how they're feeling, what they're looking for. So they've got a bit of an options. I sort of empower the players to make their own decisions too. Yes. Rather than going, this is what you have to do because this is what I say. Well, here's options that I believe are going to be good for you. You pick one based on how you feel now. And then again, we can tweak based on the individual. But yeah, I don't think it's necessary to give each player their very own program with a name on the top and a little kiss at the bottom. You just don't need all that sort of stuff.
This one's for DJ.
Put lipstick on.
This one's for Teasy.
As much as some players want that, I don't know about the kiss bit so much, but they want something with their name on it. You just don't need it to get the benefits out of them physically. Yes.
I push back a little bit. If you've got the time to do it, I think you should do it. And the time and economics to do it, I think you should do it. But once again, is that buying? Like if I had an elite soccer team, right? We're talking, salary cap 100 mil. You got to do it. Yep. Because those players are worth a lot more. Yep. And them taking time out of the game is going to be worth a lot more, and they need to be in that way. But then obviously you get some players who don't want to do the individual stuff.
Yep.
You get players at elite levels, even here, of course here, who don't want to do extra work. Yep. And so then in your team setting, that's when you can provide, this is the program, they know they're going to be here for 2 hours or 3 hours, whether it's like the full training, and you've got them for an hour, you can get that response from, you're going to get, okay, I've got 70% of what we require from each person.
Yep.
That's better than no percent.
Yep.
And then onwards and above from that,
So this is one thing I learned from another team that I was spending some time with, and they were, basically the programs were, this is what we need you to do. You cover these specific exercises as a team, we're good. Now here's 3 options of supplementary things. You can do some guns work, you can do some bench press, you can do something else, just that the players like to do.
Yeah.
If you do them, good on you. If you don't, that's okay, because you've done the stuff that we need you to do.
Yeah.
And I like that. That's something I hadn't done before that I'll be implementing very quickly now, is just making sure that they know that I'm taking care of you and your needs and your wants and desires too, by getting some bigger biceps and whatever it might be to make you happy. And just make sure that you're covering what I need you to do to keep you on the court, keep you performing well. I think that's a really good way to individualize a program, because it suits them as an individual, even though it's not designed for that one person. Yeah. Makes sense? Yeah. I like that way of individualizing something. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. And the choices are good because, providing choices is good because then, like I said, they can go with it, I always if I had to choose between, and this is me, right, and we've discussed this before, if I had to choose between working for a team and exclusively working as a consultant or like purely performance coach or individualized performance coach, I will probably do this, because those ones at that point that come in to do that stuff, you get a lot more results from. Yep. You can get a lot more individualized performance from. But this here is fun, and I enjoy it as well, because you can also then you get to see a group change.
Yeah.
And what I really enjoy, just gonna a whole other topic, is the cultural side of this. The individuals you've got within the team, how you work with them, how they work together, how you can get performance of a team up, not just being like strength coach, but doing strength and culture, strength and working between the coach and the players, because like we've discussed before, is that as a strength coach, you've got more of a personal reputation. You've got more of a personal relationship with the players than you would necessarily have as a technical coach.
Yep.
You know, and you can sort of maneuver between the two, I think. And that I love that sort of stuff. You know, but that's when you want to be, you know, then that can blend back into then the individualized side of things, like as a almost a consultant or something. You know, it comes in me when you need more stuff from your team.
Yeah.
You know, because your strength coach or your performance coach can only do so much. You know, so and I think that's super interesting as well. You know, that's when we go deep into like your assessments and deep into your nutrition and your recovery and your hormonal system and whatever that may be. But is that really necessary all the time with every player? Absolutely not. You know, I think that was really short and sweet. From where we started, about
with not knowing where we're going to go.
35 minutes ago, we were out there just like, what's going to happen?
We did well.
I think we did well with that one. Till next time.
Till next time.
Booyah.
I've got a big fat drum, big fat drum. I've got a big fat drum, pounding so bad. I've got a big fat drum, big fat drum. I've got a big fat, big fat, big. Hey!